the workflow that I have with AI allows me to accomplish more with the hours that I have. It's essentially like hiring 5, 6, 7 people to work on your website at one time. Once you reach a level of understanding that you don't even really have to understand coding or be a programmer, just use plain language. You need to understand which tools to use. Like, I challenge anyone to build a website in a weekend that has more functionality than probably, 90% of the different closet websites out there today.
This is Conquer Contractor Chaos, built for the contractor that's ready to run a business that works for them and creates the life they've been fighting for. Tune in to get the tools, systems, and strategies that are battle-proven to set you free. One move each episode, straight talk, things you can use today. Take your time back. Be home for dinner. Do the work. Lead your crew. Love your family. Conquer the chaos.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today I am joined by someone I've been chatting to quite a bit for the last little while, Mr. Glenn Chua. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. And Glenn has been cooking up a storm in the closet and cabinetry industry, but not for the reasons that you think it might be. He's actually leading a bit of a charge in the adoption of AI, and he is a closet maker himself. Past cabinet maker as well, Glenn, right? And one of the things I am keen to talk to you about is what the heck is a penis charcuterie board? I want to know about those.
Okay. Took me off guard there. So I don't even remember sending, I do remember sending you that message. So after COVID, I got together with a good friend and we decided to start some sort of woodworking business. And at the time we were planning to do kind of custom hardwood tables, nightstands, just furniture type stuff, all hardwood, traditional woodworking. That was his primary background, and I've always had an interest in it. His neighbor asked if we could make a charcuterie board the shape of a penis. And so we had a few laughs, and then she was actually serious. So we made out of ambrosia maple, and I didn't want it to just be a standard penis charcuterie board. So I put a little recess in it, and it just turned out nice. It was a hit. More and more people started asking for it. I think we were on Etsy for probably 7 months. And I think we shipped, I don't know the number, but we shipped them to every state in the US.
That is wild.
So
That's what.
Every time my parents would drop by the shop, like it was literally, let's hide all of the boards. So it's just not, it's just not something that I can explain to mom, right? Like what are these? So like it's literally they drop by unannounced and it's a mad dash to hide all of the penis boards. I probably have like 40 or 50 left because we were just batching them out, cutting them out on the CNC. So yeah, that's the story.
So if you need a last minute, if you're listening to this show and you need a last minute Christmas gift, that could be it for you.
That's right. I'll ship it out. Yep.
There you
I'll
go.
engrave Brave Academy all over it, and then we'll go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, get the logos on there. That would be awesome. That's funny, man. And it's funny how you find those little niches, like who knew that would be the thing that you'd be making money on. But hey, listen, in a gold rush, sell shovels, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Ultimately, I didn't want my name to really be attached with that one product. So I just like, what, let's just let it go.
For sure.
Thanks for starting this out with that.
Do you know what? I've been sitting on that question for probably 2.5 weeks since you posted it. And I was like, I could ask him on our school group, which is we're both members of, right? But I was like, no, I'm going to ask him on the podcast. I think people would get a laugh about hearing the story about that one. So I definitely did. That was a good one for sure.
Awesome.
Let's go, before we go forward, let's go back, right? So you've been a furniture making, cabinetry, charcuterie boards of various shapes, you're in closets now. Like, take me back to before that. Like, what's giving you your entrepreneurial spirit? Like, you have people in your family who were entrepreneurs, or are you the first one?
So a lot of my family owners are just small business owners, right? So
Right.
Chinese restaurant. My dad was a mechanic. He owned his own service station, so I grew up fixing vehicles. If I was to pinpoint it, I'd say my drive, my entrepreneurial spirit probably comes from my mom. She was always hustling, always selling something. Beanie Babies, air fresheners. She could just figure out to buy low, sell high, and she was just good at it. So
Nice.
that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
So I'm a fairly newcomer to the cabinetry closet space, right? So I've only been in it for, I would say at most like 2 years. So
Cool.
really new to it. Prior to that, I worked in IT for many, many years. I was an engineer, network engineer, moved into management, got into voice over IP, worked for companies like Verizon and Cisco systems. And I left there probably, I'd say my daughter was 5. So 2016, 2017 is when I left the corporate world.
Mm.
Um, I literally just finished building out a team in India. I was back and forth between India and Poland just nonstop. Like 3 weeks out of the month, I was over there. I was like,
No
I'm
way.
just done with this. Yeah. So, my boss came in one day and he was like, "Yeah, you just don't seem happy." And I'm like, "I'm not." So I just want to do something different. And it
Mhm.
was that day that I just said, I'm just going to quit and try to do something on my own.
Wow. Pretty dramatic.
Yeah. With a 5-year old, in daycare, it was, yeah. And a 3-year
Yeah.
old as well at the time. So,
And how did your wife take that?
so up until then, she knows I've been, it's fairly entrepreneurial. We had a used car business. We had a mobile oil change business. What else did we do? Did websites for a period of time. Did some insurance. Did real estate. At the time, we had multiple rental properties, so
Mm.
that was kind of like our our you know it was our backup. It was the monthly income coming in for those was able to support us.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do something different. At the time, I had already purchased a CNC machine. I was doing some sign making stuff on the side already.
Mhm.
So for local sign shops, I was essentially routing high density urethane signs, so HDU signs.
Cool.
So, I didn't just leave with nothing planned. I'd actually left planning to be a sign maker,
Oh,
trying to
cool.
go that route. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, that was a slow gradual. So that's obviously where you've moved into that sign making, and then you just kind of filled the
hmm
market out. How did you get to closets?
So that came years later from sign making. At the time, I had a CNC machine. I purchased a laser, and I was doing like a lot of engravings for like on cutting boards.
Mhm.
The neighborhood I was in basically said, I had plumes of like smoke or smell coming out of the house, and they're like, "You can't do this residential." So at the time, we were doing decent. So I ended up purchasing a building in Wake Forest, where I'm at now, and
Mhm.
uh, that's how I kind of moved into that space.
Cool.
And this is all going really fast, but essentially that morphed into a business where I bought a printer. So I was doing vehicle wraps,
Oh,
also other signage stuff. That morphed into doing window tint because the people that I hired had the same type of skill set, vehicle wrappers, window
right.
tinters. And then, and that led into something called paint protection film. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's the
Yeah.
clear film that goes on the higher end vehicles. Um,
Mhm.
and then that ended right around COVID. I did that for probably 3 years. We had the Tesla account, we had the Porsche account, the Maserati account, so we were doing pretty good there. But
No way. You're
COVID
wrapping high-end
happened.
cars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we were wrapping high end cars. Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
almost every Tesla that came off the lot that wanted paint protection film, they sent to us.
Cool. That's a good contract.
Yeah, yeah. COVID
Wow.
definitely put a big dent in that, and I kind of said I was really kind of into crypto at the time. So
Mhm.
that kind of pushed us away from that business, and then the frustration of not being able to find people, the talent to wrap the vehicles, and also to keep them on staff. It
Mhm.
was difficult. I think we went through like probably 30 different techs. You know, some of them had really good potential. The ones that did have real good potential, they ended up leaving and kind of doing their own thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was my experience in on that side of the house.
Yeah, gotcha. So, and then that obviously that led into were you using a CNC machine? Because I know the sign makers like they would use a CNC for doing cutting sky bond panels out for making like backlit LED signs and stuff. Like, is that where you got the equipment from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So before, pretty much during the vehicle wrap years, I didn't really do any signage, right? I was
right.
doing mostly print stuff, vinyl stuff. The CNC sat pretty much for, I don't know, probably 3 years or so. But before that, I was working for a lot of sign companies. I was routing most of the signs for them, and I was also finishing them and then installing them as well. But
Mm,
uh, but yeah, so those years, I was just really trying to feel out what I wanted to do, and in some sense,
mhm.
maybe I'm still doing that now. Um, but
Yeah,
um, but
you've done a lot.
I kind of, yeah, I kind of found a home with the whole closet cabinet piece.
Yeah,
In every industry that I jumped into, I kind of sought out like, who's the best person in this industry? Where can I get training? How can I learn? For vehicle wrapping, it's someone named Justin Pate. Like, he's just known to be like the guy to learn from wrapping.
yeah,
So, you know, I took that coursework, try to get into, you know, that kind of community, but I just never really felt at home.
right.
And that's what's been different about the people in the cabinetry industry and closet industry. I talked to most.
The cabinetry and closet industry is probably one of the best groups of people I have ever come across in my entire life for
100%.
being open and sharing and wanting to see each other do well. It's honestly a breath of fresh air, right? Like getting into that. So I can feel that, man. One of the things I didn't tell you was briefly before I left Scotland to come to Canada, I spent a little bit of time in signage sales. So
Hmm.
similar vehicle wraps, signage, the LED die cut, back cut sign, sky bond, all of that. Like did that for a little and sold that.
Yep.
How did you get to drive the Maseratis every now and again?
We did. Yeah, I've got pictures with Maseratis, Rolls Royce, Ferraris, Lambos, I mean, all of the above.
Like, yeah,
Um,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's one of the perks for
it
sure.
it's not awesome when your employee cuts into a Rolls Royce.
No way.
That's yeah, it happened. I got crazy stories around, you know, breaking the mirror on a Tesla. I was like, that was 3,000. Damaging the Rolls Royce paint. That was a that was a big expense. Um, so so yeah, there was a lot of risk in that working with the high end vehicles.
For sure. Yeah. I remember we had one night we got a call super random out of the blue. It was the organizers of the Gumball 3000. You ever heard of the Gumball rally?
Mm, mm-mm.
No. Big rally that
No, I
happens
haven't.
every year. It's usually filmed as like a YouTube series, TV show, and it's celebrities driving their super high-end cars from point A to point B, right? Like London
Mm,
to Ibiza or Egypt to wherever. And I
yeah.
remember one night we emergency call. It's 10 minutes before we shut the doors, and they're like, "Hey, we've got 3 cars that need to get wrapped tonight." We're like, "You're freaking kidding, right?" They're like, "No, no, no, we need to wrap tonight. Can you guys do it?" And we're like, "Well, what kind of cars are they?" It's like Ferrari, there was a
Mm,
Lambo, and I think there was a Rolls Royce there as well that belonged to Ludacris. You know the rapper
mm-hmm.
Ludacris?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was like Dead Mouse's car, and then Ludacris's car, and then someone else, and we had to go pick them up and drive them back out after they were wrapped. And like the funnest thing ever, cruising through. I, up until that point, the nicest thing I ever driven was like BMW 3 Series. Up until that point, but
Yeah.
that was yeah. There's some stories there for sure in that industry. That's super cool, man. So yeah, so closets, right? Obviously, closets are a good one. So doing cabinets and closets, or are you predominantly just mostly closets now?
So I got into all this, I guess, 2 years ago, wanting to do closets. So
Right.
actually, our very first job after doing some hardwood tables and whatnot, was a closet, and that was my very first job that I used Mosaic for. And I was
Oh,
still
okay.
using my old CNC machine, which I still have now. It's a 4x8, no tool changer, no drill bank. And that was the very first job that we did. And the person
Mm,
that trained us for on Mosaic was Phil Anton.
I was
And I
gonna
think
ask. Yeah.
I was, yeah, I think I was, or he pronounces Anton. But anyways, I think I was the second person that he worked with. The first was someone named Derek Asbury, which were good friends as well.
Yeah. Who I spoke to Derek a couple weeks ago, actually. Yeah, and Phil's a great guy, right? He's a wealth of
He
knowledge.
is.
So did you have him come into the shop, or was it just like an online consultation or what?
It was an online consultation. Actually, I had scheduled it with Nick Frost, and I was excited to kind of get training from him. And then he just basically that was the exact time when he said, "I'm no longer doing this." So he
Ooh.
actually never trained me. He punted me to Phil, and yeah, so he spent some time with us, helped us through that first closet job. I had no idea what a Rayfix connector was. I had no idea around the
Whoa.
construction method, just no clue whatsoever. But we did that job, uh, got that done, and then we probably didn't do a closet for another year after that.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. But you had all the tools and training to do so, I'm assuming. Yeah.
We did. It was winter at the time. At the time I did not. I had purchased another unit, commercial unit, because it became available. It was a good deal. So
Mhm.
purchased that, and then it didn't have an HVAC system in it yet, so it was pretty cold. So I looked on Facebook Marketplace. There was a heater, kerosene heater for sale. I went to go pick it up. It was a commercial contractor. Started talking to him, and then he's the reason I got into commercial. He gave us one, two, three, probably six jobs back to back.
No way.
And yeah, and that's how we kind of jumped into commercial cabinetry.
Are you still doing quite a lot of commercial now, or are you residential and commercial? Like, what's the split look like?
So I, I decided about 3 months ago that I really wanted to give closets a go.
Okay.
So I forced myself to stop bidding commercial jobs. It's a risk, but I was like, if I'm gonna go into closets, I want to do closets. We just wrapped up our last commercial job, I think probably about 3 weeks ago. It was
Wow.
two medical buildings that we did all the cabinetry for.
Yeah, dude, that's scary. That's walking away from your cash cow.
Yeah, probably not the smartest thing, but I don't know. I believe in the closets. I think it's gonna work out just fine, especially with your help.
Oh, 100%. And we're, working with guys who have and we've seen our clients who have went from cabinet makers who have decided, "Hey, this is just too much. I want something that's more repeatable, different clientele that I'm working with." Like one of our clients, they was telling us that they just punched out 525K worth of closets, sold in October, which is bananas,
Yep, it
considering,
is.
2.5 years ago was a cabinet maker who had just stopped it and started everything from scratch. And I'm sure you're going to have an origin story like that too, where it's like, I made this really tough decision to get out of commercial. It was scary, but I'm determined to make it work. And I think the mindset is the big part for sure. It's the mindset. It's like, you have to want it so badly, it's not going to fail, right? That's it for sure. So
Yep.
you're running this closet business, right? Sounds like you're coming up with a bit of a niche bit. You're very systems and very outsourcing kind of mindset, right? Like that's your thing is getting automations. You said you've
Mhm.
got a background in IT.
I
When
do.
when did you get on the scene with automations? And like when were you using things like Chat GPT? Have you always been there long before it became mainstream for, noobs like us? Tell me about
Yeah.
your history with AI and automations.
Yeah, just early adopter. I mean, anytime a new platform came out, I just love technology. Like that side of me. That's why I went into being an engineer. I kind of lived in that world for so long. And if we go back like years and years, like when I was in middle school and high school, there was a family friend that owned a computer store. So I would work at that computer store back when you would go to computer stores and say, "Hey, build me this computer." The case, the
Mhm.
motherboard, the CPU chip, modems back then, and then we got into networking. So I've always had just kind of a love for technology. And that
Mhm.
continued all through me being an engineer with a bunch of certifications, and then just really liking to tinker with different things, whether it be coding, home automation. There was a time for like a year I would just went crazy about databases. I wanted to learn how to build SQL databases, how to query SQL databases, and then websites. So I've always just had that kind of, I don't want to say technology has come easy to me, but I I just I kind of always gravitated towards it.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, so it sounds
So
like you're the kind of guy that likes to dive in and learn everything there is to know.
yeah, it's part of my, I'll call it a flaw, I think.
Well, I mean, I think it's an inherent as well, right? Like your dad was a mechanic, which is a lot of, trial and error to figure things out. And it must be a piece or there's some broken thing in there that we need to figure out. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that experience of growing up with a mechanic or someone who's mechanically minded, and then it just transfers over to technology and software, right? Because
Yeah,
might not be an alternator, but it's a piece of code that's broken. Why is it broken? Which I think is super cool.
exactly. Yeah.
Wait,
And the
I do find that
satisfaction of just fixing it, figuring it out.
yeah, yeah, and that's it, man, right? Like, it's that trial and error piece to kind of figure out, and I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people are not adopting things like AI is because they don't have the time to keep up with it. It's moving so fast, right?
It
One of the
is.
big questions that I wanted to ask you is like, you know, why should somebody adopt AI now rather than waiting for it? Right? Why should they? Why Because like ChatGPT isn't perfect. Some of the Mid Journey isn't perfect. A lot of the platforms that we're using very early on now. Well, I would class as early. You've been in this for even longer. Why should we get in tune with AI now? And what do you think the opportunity is for people who are doing closets, cabinets, general contractors? Like, how is it going to impact the industry overall?
Yeah. So, I thought about this quite a bit, and I'd say the majority of people, let's just say 90% of the people out there, when they think AI, they have used ChatGPT, right? They've asked it
Mhm.
a question, them, they've had ChatGPT help them write an email, to even maybe ask them, help me, do my resume, or help me, craft a business plan. So the unlock for me was when I could connect our everyday tools that we use and connect that with AI. It just it unlocks so many different opportunities. So especially for small business, everyone has a form on their website, right? So when someone fills out that form, if I'm out at an install, I may not get to that form request until later that night, maybe even the next morning. And then
Mhm.
that's just one simple example of where we can implement a simple AI workflow to respond to watch for and respond to that form request. And I like keeping myself in the middle. So I built a workflow where it will recognize that a new request came in. It will write the
Mhm.
email for me. It will send me a notification saying, "Hey, new request came in. Here's the email I wrote. Is it good? Or do you want me to make
Mhm.
changes to it?" I'll say approved and it'll send it. Or I'll say change the subject. Or I'll say, make it shorter, and then it'll make it shorter. Or lose the second paragraph. And then everything is done from my
Mhm.
phone on the go. Takes me 10 seconds to respond back.
Mhm.
And I can keep an SLA of under 15 minutes to respond to every single request that comes in. And
Mhm.
you can't do that without a big staff that is watching all of those things coming in. And as a small business, I can't really afford that right now.
Mhm.
And, that's just one example of one benefit of AI, that's out there.
I think a lot of people are in that mindset where they've always been pre-programmed to think that's a person's job. That's a person's job. That's a person's job.
Mhm.
But people are expensive, right? Tools are cheap. People are expensive. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And this may be getting a bit deep, but you already mentioned it. AI is changing so fast. The tools are getting, they're just getting better every day. And the workflow that I have with AI allows me to accomplish more with the hours that I have every day. So, as an example, I was speaking with Kevin and we were talking about website stuff with Legacy Wardrobe. And I
Mhm.
was like, I'm currently paying, I don't know, I think it was like $50 a month for my website. I was like, why am I not leveraging AI? Am I not leveraging the free resources that I can use to host my website and also build my website? So literally this past weekend, I started on a Friday. I completely shut down my website, rebuilt it, built added functionality to it, all because of the workflow that I have with AI. It's a bit advanced, but it's essentially like hiring 5, 6, 7 people to work on your website at one time.
Mhm.
And once you reach a level of understanding that you don't even really have to understand coding or be a programmer, you just use plain language. You need to understand which
Right.
tools to use. Like, I challenge anyone to build a website in a weekend that has more functionality than probably, you know, 90% of the different closet websites out there today.
Right. Right. And you're getting your vision of what you wanted to design it as simply by just asking for it rather than having to go through a traditional website designer who is going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to recreate what you've got in your head where you could just do it yourself by giving AI simple prompts, right?
Yeah, it gets a bit more involved when you want to do some advanced things on the website. But for static websites that are information only with a simple form, there's no reason a- anyone can do that today. And
Mhm.
then understanding which tools to use and how to host the website. It's probably in 30 minutes I can train almost anyone to really just kind of do it on their own.
Right. So what we're really seeing here is all of those web designers out there that have learned how to use AI are still charging 5 to 10 grand for a website, but are probably using a lot of AI to do it in half an hour. So good market to be in, I guess.
Yeah, if they're not, then they're going to be taken over very quickly by the people that are leveraging it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And this whole situation with AI kind of reminds me of back when kind of Google and Google Maps and Google reviews kind of came on scene, and everybody said, "Well, why do I need that when I have Yelp, or why do I have that, or why do I need that when I'm in the phone book? Why do I need a Google listing?" Like the way I see it is you either adopt it or you get left behind. Like where are those guys now that are still running HTML websites or had their name in the phone book, and how well are they doing now? Not only from a how well you get discovered by clients, but also, well, if you're not using AI to automate your business, you're working 10 times harder than somebody who is. They're still going to dust you, when it comes to growth and scalability and targeting their ideal client and spending more times on the things that actually move the needle with their businesses. They're going to spend more time in entrepreneur mode because you're still ticking boxes and wander around your office with paper. And it's such a cool thing, a cool time to be alive. You can only imagine what this is going to look like in another 20 years. These young guns coming in, guys like Nick Hall. I'll shout it out for Nick Hall right here because I know I won't mind, but it's never been easier to own and run a business with all of the tools that are available to us today. You know, never been easier. What do you say to the old guys who are on the fence or the older guys on the fence about getting into this stuff?
Start with identifying the problems, right, of your business. Like, what is repetitive?
Hmm.
And then find small ways that AI can actually help resolve those small problems. So I think that's a good way to really just step into using AI for your business. Do things that I guess are kind of reversible. So, if you implement something, don't go all in, just start small. But the main thing is just kind of start. Because if you don't, I think those that really do embrace it, they're just going to have a big advantage over the businesses that do not.
Yeah. I would totally agree with you. I mean, we talk a lot about time auditing when it comes to coaching, because I think if there's one thing that cabinet makers and closet guys and contractors in general do a terrible job of, is really looking at their time and the value of the time that they spend on certain tasks. And we have a little bit of a system for it. We call it the OASME. It's outsource, automate, systemize, minimize, eliminate. And it starts by really taking note of what are the things I'm spending on my time right now in my business that hold me back from the things where it's high value and high return into the business, right? It's kind of like that 80-20 rule, right?
Right.
Spend 80, yeah, revenue generation. And so, we put outsource, automate as number one because we want to remove it off of the entrepreneur's plate as quickly as possible so that he or she can go on to do things that bring more revenue in. And a really classic example of that is, one of my other clients who's listening to this podcast right now, who his problem is he just can't let go of the finishing booth. He just no one else can do it better than me. I'm the fastest at it. I'm the best at it. But he does it. One of the things that he doesn't realize is that when he's in the finishing booth, he's not out selling. He's not getting that next contract, or he's not evaluating who my ideal client is, and is that next contract someone who's going to pay me more money for the same amount of work that I was doing for Paul, down the street.
Makes
So
sense.
when you can really time map, it's pretty simple, right? Grab a notebook, grab a pen, start on a Monday, and just write down absolutely everything that you do over the course of a week. At the end of that week, go through each one and say, well, who could have done that, right? Could I outsource it? Can I automate it? If I can't do those things, can I systemize it, build like an SOP and a good system or a process, right?
Mhm.
How do we minimize it? So minimize the collateral damage if this thing goes wrong, right? If I do not collect AR, I cannot pay my people, right? How do we eliminate that? And then the last one is eliminate completely. And I think automation at this point, and we just wrapped up, we paid like 10 grand to have a tech come in, identify all the areas where we were just wasting our time. And he just built it all out for us, right? Because I'm lazy, right? When it comes to that stuff, I'm not as smart as you, Glenn.
Um,
Uh, and honestly, it's been life changing. It means that I can coach my clients better. I can have more time to do, sales stuff or discovery calls, or spend more time on Facebook learning more about my clients, or, meeting guys like Phil Anton and Nick Frost. Like, it gives me the ability to do so, which ultimately scales and grows the business. There's no reason why a cabinet maker couldn't have the same thing, especially when you already have an extra process in your business compared to every other contractor. Every other contractor gets to do their work on the job site, right? They order the stuff, it comes to the job site, you do your job, you're done. Cabinet makers and closet guys, you have an entire manufacturing division as a step in between, that if you don't have those simple processes and systems, and I became quite the student of lean manufacturing myself, in the last little while. If you don't have automations taking care of those little things, there's just more items that can get missed, meaning that you don't have that consistent experience with your customer.
Makes
If
sense.
you're an older guy, there are other options other than jumping in and building this yourself, right? There are outsourcing the AI kind of revamp of your business by outsourcing it to someone. Glenn, you've got a really good school group, right? Which you're kind of crazy, I think personally, because you're giving all this information away for free that's in there and giving guys a start. Is that the best place for someone to start? Or, what would your advice be to someone in that mindset?
Yeah, when I started the school group, I just really wanted to be in a group of I wanted to be surrounded by people who are also interested in leveraging not just AI, but just technology in general for their
Mhm.
business. I just think approaching it from that lens and from just approaching it that way will enable me to grow faster as a business. I outside of the group, I'm just always keeping up with all the technology stuff just because it interests me.
Yeah.
And it was really just a place to kind of share what I'm working on, what I'm interested in. And if I can help someone along the way, that's great.
Mm,
Out of that group, I haven't been able to spend as much time in it lately, but I found the people that are really interested in it, and honestly, we speak almost on a daily basis.
mhm.
So those have been some really good connections, and A lot of ideas have come from that. As far as how to get started, I would say it's just that. Just get started. Like,
Mm,
look beyond what the basics of, just asking ChatGPT to help you with an email. Understand that there's ways to connect AI to your everyday tools in a fairly easy way. Things will start to move in that direction anyways. You've got ChatGPT, which already now can connect to your calendar or your email. And then instead of just having it write the email, you can have it write the email and send it. So
right.
things are just moving in this direction anyways. It's coming whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You might as well just get at least familiar with it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of softwares these days are forcing it on you anyway, where you don't really have a choice, like Google Sheets has Gemini and, your Gmail account has Autopilot or whatever it's called, writing those email drafts. You want us to do this for you? Do you want us to do this for you? And I think it's just
Right.
embracing what's already there in front of you.
Mhm.
And one of the cool things for guys in the cabinetry industry anyway is you're already used to outsourcing, right? You're used to automating already. And how do we know that? Well, how many of you guys are using screwdrivers or, instead of a drill? Very
Mhm.
few. How many of you are using a CNC machine instead of a table saw? A lot, right? You're already in that mindset of saying, how can I get more output and more consistency from the tools that I'm using without having to rely on people? And I don't think you'll ever get away from people. I think that,
No.
I don't foresee a world where an AI is going to, an AI agent is going to call a cold call another AI agent and convince it needs to buy from you. If that happens, that would be funny as anything if it did. But
Yeah.
human beings as a species, we rely on human interaction, right? Like we're very tribal, and it's kind of ingrained in our psyche to be that way. And if you want to, if you're somebody who's saying, well, I don't want AI because I like what I've got, right now, what I would say is use AI to make you be able to do more of that human interaction, more
Exactly.
sales, right? More like meeting with your vendors, because I think more than anything, that people to people connection is going to still and always be the most important thing when it comes to any business is person to person human connection, very
Agreed.
weirdly enough,
Agreed.
AI agents when it comes to sales or finalizing a sale anyway.
Yeah. I try my best to attend as all of the different events. I'm heavily involved with the Facebook group that Jeff Bellows started, and I just spent a lot of time with those guys, the
Mhm.
Jason Baum, Nick Frost, Phil, just all of those guys. Anytime there's an event, I just try to go because, like you said, that just they're great people, and then just having that in person, communication, it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do find as well, like, when it comes to the AI stuff, even Chat GPT for the most part, like, yeah, it knows the framework, but it doesn't know nuance or context, and it doesn't know how you screwed up that lady's closet, 3 years ago and it was an
Right.
easily avoidable mistake, right? Kind of those events, man. I'm going to be at a lot of them next year. Allmac, Closet Expo, IWF, all like those we crave human connection. That's one of the best places to do it, right? If you want to learn, you want to go and scale your business, go learn from guys who have done it before without AI. And how much easier will it be for you in the next, 12 to 24 months when you've got infinite amounts of tools to be able to do it probably faster than they did?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, Glenn.
Sure.
Why is this not like you seem like the kind of guy who, you're finding your niche, you're always trying to find new products, you're trying to stay creative, you're trying to, leverage things that you love to do in order to make money, right? Which is a great character trait. Why are you not turning this into a paid thing? Why are you not charging for it? Why are you not consulting? You know, yeah,
Uh, I've started to. So, I'm working with a few local businesses where I'm setting up voice AI agents for them,
right.
essentially inbound agents. I've also provided my automated email responder to a few of the shops out there and charged for it. I'm just kind of testing the waters with that. I'm trying my best to not really go all in on that side of the house right now because
Mhm.
I've got so much invested and there's so much potential in the closet business. I think I finally found something where it's a lot easier, in my opinion, my 2 years of experience opinion, to do a closet as opposed to a kitchen or a commercial job. Closets, I don't have to deal with plumbing. I don't have to deal with appliances.
Mhm.
Most of the time, I don't even have to deal with electrical. The construction methods for the closets is fairly simple. You've got
Mhm.
uprights, you've got tops, bottoms, shelves, and you got accessories. My struggle with the vehicle wrap business was finding talented people that would not cut into the Rolls Royce. Like, it's just difficult. But
Yeah.
I can have someone load the bander, I can have someone label parts, I can have someone run the CNC machine, and I just really see a way to put a system to it, which is why I'm so drawn to closets, which is why I'm taking a huge risk by really just wanting to focus in on closets.
Mhm.
So that's my main reason for probably not really going deep into the tech, the IT stuff. I've just got so much invested on this other side, you know, two commercial shops, you know, CNC, edge bander, just all the equipment. It's all, and it'd just be a shame to not see where it goes.
Yeah.
And if I'm able to leverage using AI systems to build this business in a fast and meaningful way, then that'll, give me the social proof to really start offering these technical services to other businesses.
I love that, man. Yeah, I love that. I think, and I don't know about you, but I feel this way about the cabinet industry just because people are so great that you don't want to put bad information out there at all, right? Like you always want to be giving good information out. And you call me sentimental to the cabinet makers out there who already have it pretty hard, but yeah, man, I think, flood the market with free information and value as much as you can, and typically things come back to you in a good way,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track with these closets, dude. Honestly, if you put your heart and soul into closets, it is I don't want to say it's an easy business to scale, but it is very systems and process driven. And a lot of the automations that are coming up now are going to make that 10 times easier for sure. So I think they do go hand in hand, compared to more traditional cabinet makers.
Mhm.
Um, However, I like the mission, right? The mission of let me nail this first,
Mhm.
and then I'll see what I can do with it. And then if it's so helpful, then I'll pass it on to other people. That's super cool, man. Love that.
Yeah, and I'm just, like, every day, I'm just trying to find, different ways to be more efficient, to leverage the technology that I'm so familiar with,
Mhm.
for this business. And I know I'm gonna have some failures in there, gonna have some successes, but along the way, I just need to pay attention and learn from it.
Yeah.
There's the whole side of sales and marketing that I am absolutely terrible at.
Right.
But I'm sure that there is some sort of way to even help that side of the house. I just, I'm going to meet with you, going to understand what actually needs to be done, and then we'll figure out a way to do it, as efficiently as possible.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that stuff doesn't come easy, right? You've been in tech where you didn't really have to talk to a lot of people,
Yeah.
like you've been in you've been a closet maker, you've worked in signage, and yeah, like you still have to do sales and stuff, but people are coming to you, right? Like when it comes to the closets and you want to be really direct with who you're working with, there's a lot of outreach. And I'll be honest with you, I don't trust AI to do it all for me when it's supposed to be conveying the value that we provide, you know? I think it can start the conversation,
Mhm.
but I don't think it's going to be the thing that wins the client over to buy from you, especially if you're providing a premium product for a premium price. People still want that experience, And we'll
Yeah.
we'll get into that in your coaching call, right? Like we'll go through,
Yeah.
different methods and tactics, and even like we use email marketing, and most, some of it's AI, but we've seen the results of what happens when we put something through Chat GPT and send it out as a piece of value from us. It's just like Oh yeah, dude. I'll show you one day. I'll show you our list of responses of people who actually replied to our cold email that got sent out via automation, giving us the middle finger, you know. But yeah, this is a cool thing, man. We're all learning this together, right?
Yeah,
We're all learning what's possible. We're all learning what opportunities lie there with automation and stuff. And I think as long as we maintain approaching it from the right angle of we're here to do good in the world, we're here to do a good job for our clients, we're here to build good businesses that give good opportunities to our employees. And if AI can help us do that, then why not embrace it? Right?
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
definitely in the same mindset. Yeah.
What's been the just out of curiosity for me, but like what's been the one automation that you've put in place that you think has given you the most amount of time back or cash back? Like what's been the one biggest valuable AI improvement you've made?
I wouldn't say that it is. I wouldn't say that is one specific tool, right? So if you looked at the numbers for the leads that we do have coming in, I love the fact that I can look at the stats and say, all right, well, my AI automated email responder, did 400 emails back last month. I mean, that's pretty good, right? That really saved me a lot of time.
Mhm.
But I think it's just a combination of the overall understanding of what I can use AI for that that really has made a big difference. And
Mhm.
like I said this weekend, like 3 months ago, I would not have been able to do what I did this weekend to develop the site that I did.
Mm,
And the reason that it was so quick is because I just knew to use this tool for this tool for this, and I knew the right questions to ask. I knew how to speak to the different LLMs, the different AI models, and I just knew which tools to use to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish.
mhm,
So I'd say it's just as a whole, my my level of knowledge of what is out there today and what's possible has I think is going to continue to pay dividends.
mhm. I would totally agree. I would totally agree. In your opinion, like if obviously like this is a whole new world to even to me, right? Like what's something that people should know? Like what would be, what would be a question that I should be asking you right now?
So it's a tough one because there's just so many different things. I think the main question is it comes down to time, right? So what what can I do for my situation using technology? It doesn't have to be AI. I mean, honestly, some of these workflows have very little bit of AI component to it. It's
Right.
just it's a process, right? So you're an expert when it comes to developing processes for the business, right? So and those things save time, like they add value.
Yeah.
My thing is like, what is it that is eating your time that you don't like doing? And then like let's find a way to really get past that. Don't just
Mhm.
dig in and say, "Oh, I've got to do it." Like
Yeah.
you don't you might not have to, right?
Yeah.
Or you have to just do a portion of it. And maybe it's not just you, maybe it's your assistant and they've got to do all of these tasks and if that can be automated, they can be working on something
Mhm.
higher order. So, I don't know if that answered the question, but that's
No,
what
I
it's
think you honestly did. I think you answered that perfectly. I think you answered that absolutely perfectly. It's not about the individual AI, it's about the mindset of opening up your time, right? Opening up your time and doing things that you're more passionate about. And I love that you use that word passion, because I'm a firm believer that if you like doing something, if you're passionate about it, you're going to do a much better job of that thing. And compared to if you hate that task and it's forced upon you and you have to do it. One of the other exercises that I'll probably give to you on our call is going to be called the love, like, tolerate, hate exercise. And you said I'm an expert at systems. I'm not an expert at systems. I'm just someone who is so scatterbrained and has a million ideas that if I don't have a process to categorize and systemize things into high priority, low priority,
Mm.
I would be, out walking in a field somewhere because it seemed like a good idea at the time. When I think of a task, right? When I do that time audit, and the time audit, this isn't something I came up with. I don't know if you've ever read the book. There goes my whole book collection, but it's called Buy Back Your Time.
I have not.
No, this guy, Dan Martell, is absolutely phenomenal. And he's software, he's a SaaS guy as well. But the time audit, taking notes of that time, writing down every single thing that you do, and yeah, you're asking, hey, what can I outsource, automate, systemize, minimize, eliminate? But the other part of that is you can say, hey, what do I love? What do I like? What do I tolerate? And what do I hate? You know, where would they fall in that box? And then we go, well, let's look at everything in the tolerate and hate column. Congratulations, you just got the job description for your next hire or your next two hires. And
Yep.
we push a lot for virtual assistants. I mean, you've probably worked with Hazel, my VA, or
Mhm.
she's not a VA, she's an executive assistant, right? Her job, literally, her job, like number one core value for her job or role description is protect Lee's time. Make sure I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That's her job. And whatever task comes up, if it deviates from that core value, she's always got an anchor to go back to, you know? So virtual assistants, great option nowadays. I don't know if you've ever looked into the world of virtual assistants. We've got
And
a really good partner that we work with, and I think we're on 8 or 9 of our clients are all working with VAs, back costing their projects. They know their numbers. Their meetings are getting scheduled. They're going to the right estimates. Things are confirmed, and they never end up in the wrong place. It's really cool when you start to have those gatekeepers, whether it's AI or a human being in place. It's really cool to have those gatekeepers keeping you in the right spot as the entrepreneur. You're supposed to be the visionary as the entrepreneur.
right, and I'm definitely not short on ideas. Sometimes too many.
Yeah.
Um, I often say this, but my wife keeps. She has a system for our home, our house. Everything has its place. Everything is neat.
Mm,
Nothing stays on the floor. There's never any dishes that remain in the sink. Like, it's just a system, and myself and my 2 children, we just follow it, because
yeah.
if we don't, there's hell to be paid. And, like, I'm great at I'm capable and I'm good at following the system. It's just
Mhm,
at the shop, I'll admit it, like, it's a mess in there sometimes, right?
mhm.
And, every time I walk in there, I'm like, "Man, I just really want a neat, like, nice shop, something I can be proud of people walking in and not have to apologize. Hey, apologies for the mess." That kind of deal. Like, I just need that system to be put in place in all areas of the business. I will work hard, get up early. I'll make it work. I just need the system in place.
Yeah. You're totally right. You're totally right. This is, and I hate to use this example, and I use this quite a lot, but I do hate to use it. It's kind of like prison, you know? Like if you're behaving badly, what happens? You get put in a place where everything is controlled. When you eat, when you sleep, when you go outside, when you shower, right? And you get that routine and system instilled into you, you know, and typically, you know, hopefully it reforms you, but at least gives you a base and structure. It's like you said,
Mhm.
when you have that freedom of doing whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, your mind is in total chaos, you know? The real definition of freedom to me anyway is having a system and a structure where you're like, yeah, I'm on track or I'm off track. People say think outside the box. I say think 10% outside the box and that's it. Don't push yourself too far because you don't want to get too far away from a routine, a system, and a structure.
Mm.
It's like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym and, you know, do you get results after one day? No,
Consistency. Yeah.
it's consistency, but it's numbers as well, right? Pythagoras said this best when he said numbers control the universe. Because if you go into the gym 5 days a week, you lift this weight, this many reps, this many sets, you consume this many calories,
Mhm.
have this much intake, you get this many hours of sleep. When do you see those results? A year? 6 months? A year? Right? Somewhere in there.
Yep.
Totally right, man. Totally right. And I mean, I think there's a lot of guys sitting listening to this, be like, "Well, I could really use AI because I would love to be able to get back in the gym." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
A lot of that.
sacrifice your health for money, you know, when it comes to business, and this is another one of those tools. But yeah,
You know what's what when I hear systems, when I hear organization, and I think everyone who knows Jason Baum would attest to this. He's just next level, right? That's
yeah,
just everything that he does. It seems like is just perfect. Like, you know, and Jason, if you ever listen to this, it's kind of annoying, but it's also something to look up to. And yeah, there's just example after example that it's like, man, like I'm just not that well put together,
Mhm. Yeah.
So, so yeah, it's definitely something to aspire to.
Yeah. I think it comes down to mental clarity is a big one. Is just having the space to really think, hey, like, how do I improve this process or system?
Hmm.
Right? Because it's clearly broken. Does it achieve the result? Maybe, but does it achieve the result efficiently and in a way where I gain something back, either financial or time or even emotional kind of happiness?
Right.
Jason's probably built those systems in his business because he's gotten bored of being the guy who's always reacting to every little fire that pops up around him.
Right.
We're all in that. We all do that. And we get so big and we get so busy and we create this big brain fog that drags us back from doing the things that are high value. In fact, here's a thought, man, because I honestly do not believe that the human brain was ever built to be or designed to be able to function with all of the stresses that we have these days. Paying bills, you know, running around, growing businesses, mowing your lawn. You know what I mean? Like our primal instinct is to eat, sleep, fight a little bit and some other stuff that I'm not going to mention on the call. But
Right.
that's where those systems come back, right? It's like, can I get back into that mindset of, can I buy myself a little bit of time, even if I have to sacrifice? Maybe I have to sacrifice a client. Maybe I have to sacrifice that really big opportunity that's right in front of me for this next job. I just need some time back to regroup, systemize, take a step back, look at the world from a 10,000-foot view and say, okay, I can't be so close to the action that I'm blind to what's happening, 2 weeks down the road or 6 months down the road.
Yeah, makes sense.
Totally, man. Totally. Totally. Then that's the problem. We need to get you out. We need to get you off the battlefield and up into the helicopter or the airplane that's circling the battlefield. That's really what we do with our clients is we say, hey, I can see this, but I'm not in it every day with you. I'm not
Yeah.
behind the machine and I'm not dealing with that pissed off customer. But I'm looking at your numbers. Doesn't matter what the problem was in the background or the guy that didn't show up or, he was late or somebody quit. All I look at is numbers. That's how we control that business. And these guys can do the same thing, man. Like I said, it's never been easier to get those numbers. You build a couple of small automations, you
Mm.
build some custom reports, get it to email you every Friday. Here's what your gross margin was. Here's what your labor hours spent versus budget was. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be so difficult, but the biggest part is number one is we need to buy back your time. That's starting.
Yeah.
Second thing is how do we buy back time for other people in the business? Because if you put in an admin, if you put in a production manager, if you put in a sales guy, and you go, all right, okay, I've just taken my 20 hats and I've dished out, 4 or 5 to each guy.
Hmm.
Well, how do I get him down to 2 hats so that he's only doing the things that are super high value? So buy back your time, then buy back your people's time. That's the way to do it. That is
Yeah.
the way to do it. And I can definitely help you. Glenn, let me ask you this, and then I'll let you go because I know you've got young kids, and
Yeah.
they'll be itching to get you back. But what does the future look like for Obsessed Closets in Glen Chua? What's next on your docket?
So the next thing is having a meeting with you next Tuesday. I
Mhm,
already laid out what I feel like my weaknesses are in the sales and marketing space. When it
mhm,
comes down to it, no one. I don't know. It's just me not putting myself out there like I should be.
mm,
I think I watch a lot of business stuff and you know be on social media daily, right? Share your journey, talk about the closets, talk about the accessories. It doesn't matter what, just talk about it every single day.
for sure.
When it comes down to it, I I like closets. I like building them. Every time we get done with the job, customers happy. It's just the best feeling
Mhm,
for me. Like I want to dig in and just do something a little bit different in the closet industry. I want to build it with technology. I love secret hiding places like little, just that type of you know, i- a hidden cabinet. Like I want to build something like that into
mhm.
my systems, and maybe that's just the kid in me, like loving those things. Move a book and got access to something that shouldn't be there, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I just I want to have fun with it. I really want to be at least in my area for now. Like, when people think closets, they think my business.
Yeah,
And I think we've got all the tools. We got everything it takes to make that happen.
of course.
So yeah, that's kind of where I want it to be a successful business.
I love that. I love that. Maybe one day you can make me something for like a secret gun closet or something like that for my place.
100%.
I'd be
Yep.
down. Yeah, that'd be super cool. Cool, man. All right. This is the part where we get to plug our school courses.
Sure.
So tell us about Tech Guild.
Yep. So I have a school community tech guild, and it's just a bunch of business owners that get together and learn about technology, not just AI, just technology in general. And the focus is how can we leverage technology to help our small businesses?
I'm in that group. Really cool discussions going on. Some really cool people in that group, mostly cabinet makers and closet guys, just like you and, the people who are listening to this. School as a platform has been pretty life changing for me as well. Like you're in our school group. What do you think of Conquer Contractor Chaos school group?
So I love the conversation that goes on there. I love the different connections with people that are very like minded and building businesses and wanting to improve their business. The one thing I'll say is you have a lot of coursework on there. Just haven't taken the time to like go through them.
Mhm.
I've watched, you know, a few of them here and there, but just going through, there's a lot of resources there, and there's just like an endless. There's no reason not to know what to do because the knowledge is there, right? It's
Yeah.
just to focus on.
The school course is intense for sure. There's a lot of resources there. The point of the Conquer Contractor Chaos course or the school group is to give context, right? It's not the implementation part. That's what the one-on-one coaching is, but the resources are there. We point you in that direction. So anyone who's listening to this, if you've not been into the school course yet, Glenn's completely free. You can access it pretty much just by hitting a button on school, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. And then for everyone, we have a 7-day free trial where you can jump in and get some access to some kind of pre-approved modules for you to get yourself in the right headspace and stuff. But we do have resources there for everything, for marketing, for sales, for recruitment, for finances, like literally everything. Glenn, I have a lot more. I am obsessed with my school course. This is why I get so much done. Is I make 3 to 4 modules a night. Every night I'm sitting on the couch making modules because I just love it, dude. It's so much fun. And more are getting
Yeah.
added every day. So yeah, I'll link our school groups in the notes below for the show.
Okay.
So make sure you go and check those out. Glenn, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Glenn at obsessedclosets.com. Glenn is with two N's.
Glenn with 2 N's at obsessedclosets.com. We'll stick his email in the show notes as well, guys. But honestly, if you're someone who's sitting there on the fence about AI or adopting it, or you maybe don't have the bandwidth, or you maybe don't have, an idea where to start, I'm sure Glenn would be more than happy to chat your ear off and share ideas. And yeah, for this week, guys, thanks for tuning into the show. Another one's coming pretty soon. And let us know what you think by rating the show on Spotify or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Until the next one, guys, see you soon.
Thanks. See you later.